I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Oceonax joins us. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hey, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Oceonax. I'm a retro animated magical girl VTuber, and I draw and stream every day.
Boy, you really do draw, too. Some of that stuff that you got up there is really amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
Well, yeah, I watched that. Folks, if you haven't seen the opening that Oceanex has put together, the
My intro video?
the found tape of the of the intro to the series, it's like you're watching television back in 1991.
Thank you.
It really was well done, and so not only are you an artist, but an animator as well.
Indeed.
So have you always been someone who's leaned toward the artistic side of things?
Absolutely not. I mentioned a second ago that I've been drawing and streaming every day for a little over 2 years now, and that's when I started.
Whoa!
At the start of that.
So you just kind of picked it up then?
Pretty much. I'd drawn like a little bit, right? Like, you know, as you do as a kid. And about 5 years before doing all of this, I tried to learn for like a month or two. But you know, not very long, right? So really this is the first time that I've really tried to learn and improve and draw.
Wow. I mean, are you completely self-taught then?
I am.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not.
Because really, the quality is so good. It's hard to imagine somebody picking this up just a couple years ago and getting to the level that you're able to do right now.
I mean, I mean, I've done it every day, right? So, like, and you know, obviously, when I say I do it every day, like, that's on stream, and I'm streaming for. I do art for like usually at least 3 hours every day, and that's not even counting anything that I do off stream as well, which is also a lot of stuff. So. Yeah, I spend a very large amount of my time, you know, drawing and doing creative things. So,
wow,
you just kind of pick things up. I mean, you know, it helps that I have a clear vision of like what I want and what I'm working towards and that sort of stuff, right?
That's so maddening. I'm sorry, but I'm so terrible at art. Every time I pick up a pen to draw something, lightning strikes.
It takes lots of practice. It takes lots of effort, but it can be done. It can definitely be done.
Well,
you know, like I have lots of things like that I can say about like my journey and what I think helped me and stuff like that. But a lot of it can come down to just finding what you want to do, right? Because at the end of the day, if it's not something that you're passionate about, you can keep doing, then it's not something that you're going to really be able to push yourself with.
Yeah. What made you decide to do it? Either just out of the blue, or did you just said, I've always wanted to do it, now I'm going to do it? What?
Well, it's me. Well, me deciding to draw is kind of linked to me deciding to stream.
Yeah.
Because I basically saw an animated clip of like a VTuber that I didn't know on YouTube, and something about the way they were animated, like it wasn't like the actual VTuber, it was, you know, someone doing like an animated, you know,
version,
an animated redraw of like a clip, right? And something about the way that they'd drawn the character like moving and stuff, I was like, it made me think VTubers are meant to look like anime. Not like, obviously not all VTubers are, but that like that's how they got popular, and that's what a lot of people go to when they see VTubers. They're like anime girls and guys and whatever that
Right.
they can talk to and stuff like that and interact with and that move, and
Right.
it's like a real life. It's like an anime happening, unfolding in real time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just sort of thought, well, yeah, but like VTubers don't actually move like characters in anime. Live 2D looks good, but that's not how anime characters are animated at all,
No.
right?
Yeah.
So I kind of just thought, why hasn't anyone tried making a VTuber that is animated like a actual anime character? So I made like a test version for this of like to test like if the transitions would work. At this point, I didn't know how to draw, so it was just like a very rough sort of test to see if it could work. And I went live and just played like I think I played Vampire Survivors or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking with the one friend who showed up to chat with me, who I already knew. And I was talking about like, oh, you know, maybe like this seems fun. Maybe I'll like try and commission someone, but like it's expensive, you know, like I don't know. I don't really have much money. But I mean, we can see how it goes. And they were just like, why don't you just like you could just try and draw yourself? And I was like, I mean, I could. Excuse me, sorry. I mean, I could. Oh my! What is happening with my throat? Hang on, I'm just gonna hydrate.
But maybe you can't. Maybe I could.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, maybe I will just draw it, and I'll give it a try. I'll try drawing. We'll see how it goes. And I started drawing and kind of realized like, oh, I'm actually really enjoying the idea of leveling up my art in order to be able to draw this model, and it just kind of kept going, really, to be honest. Like I just kind of enjoyed it more and more, and it became a passion, and yeah, the rest is history.
Well, it's pretty amazing. I mean, over that period of time, a lot of people go there and their entire lives and not be able to do something like that, and you've been able to do it in a very short period of time. Was that why you started VTubing in general? Was to show the art, or was there another reason that brought you into it?
Well, yeah, well, like I said, I started VTubing just to test this model idea.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even necessarily.
You weren't looking at long term.
Pardon?
You weren't looking at it long term at the time.
Not really. I kind of like. I was like, I want to like see if this is possible. I just wanted to like try and do it because I was like, this seems like a really cool idea, and like I haven't seen anyone. I mean, I only knew like really big VTubers at the time anyway, but I was like, I haven't seen anyone do this. Why doesn't someone do this? You know? And I tried it, and I was like, this is kind of cool actually, and I think there might be something here. I think I might be onto something. I think I might have found a little gold mine. Yeah, and as I kind of just propelled forward by the idea of like finding sort of success with this, it became a passion, and I think I have found success with it. I think I have found like
Well, I think absolutely, and it's amazing that this has kind of allowed you to tap in that skill. Did you ever think you would, growing up, that you had the skill to do something like this?
Not really. I just kind of, I mean, I drew when I was young, but like at like school and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for like A-levels or whatever, I just did a bunch of like maths and science, and
Yeah.
and at uni I studied zoology, and like I tried to do teacher training, didn't work out. All very like not necessarily super creative things, and I've always liked creative things and always wanted to, I've always liked the idea of like being able to draw and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really had the motivation to do so for various reasons, and things just sort of lined up.
That's really cool. I mean, it's great that this has allowed you to explore that part of yourself, and not only that, explore but bloom. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
it fits you like a glove at this point. The animation part of it, I can understand. First of all, I can understand the drawing part, even though I can't do stick figures. Um, Going from that to the animation part so quickly, was that an easy thing for you to learn? Did it just kind of come naturally for you?
Um, I wouldn't say it was easy. Yeah, animation is very complicated, but
Mm,
I started small. I started like with simpler animations and
mhm.
like I just kind of I just kind of dipped my foot into it. I just kind of like looked at animations and was like, how do they work? Like, what's going on here? And trying to like replicate them and sort of do them in my own way and stuff like that. And animation is very difficult, but you just like with art, when you do it a fair bunch, you get better. And I eventually kind of, it took me a very long time to make sort of my model and the things for my model and everything relating to that. And um, by the time I'd gotten a lot of it done, I felt relatively confident to do things like the intro video and stuff like that.
Well,
Um, yeah,
well, that's pretty. And I'm just absolutely floored by that. It's amazing. Um,
well, thank you.
I mean, I can't even come up with the words for something like this. And have you gotten people wanting to have you do that for them?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I, I mean, I do animations for people.
Hmm.
Like mostly, really, the only thing I've done so far is animated emotes.
Hmm.
Um, Anything more than that, I mean, something on the level of like my intro video, an absolutely unfathomable amount of work went into that.
Well, yeah.
Um, so it's not something that I would really be comfortable doing for someone else, if only based on just the fact that it would take a ridiculous amount of time. I wouldn't even know how, like, if I wouldn't even know how much I would need to like price something like that. And if I were to price something like that, it would cost a lot. It would be a very large amount of money because I would have to work on it constantly for several months at the very least.
Yeah,
Um,
and have the time available to do it and be able to
oh
put
yeah,
everything else on hold to do it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If I came up to you with a whole bunch of money and said, "Hey, I wanted an intro kind of like what you did," you'd be like, "Okay, how much money and how much time?" Or would you jump at the
I, I,
opportunity?
I mean, it depends on the amount of money, I suppose, but I'd probably say no.
Wow. Well, especially with the
Like,
amount of money
if
I
it's
have.
yeah, if it's a truly big amount of money, then I'd probably be like, okay. Mostly because like, um, I stream and draw for a living,
Hmm.
right? So I do need money to get by. Um, and if an opportunity like that did present itself, where when I do the math and think, okay, like if someone, like for example, if someone offered me like, I don't know, like in excess of like tens of thousands of pounds for an intro video, then probably, like at that point, I would probably see it as worth it. Um,
See, 10,000 pounds in American dollars. Is that like
it's like
I like
$15,000,
oh wow,
something like
I was
that.
thinking more like 25 cents. It's about all I have. I won't be asking for anybody to do any art of me anytime soon. I don't have the money for it. But really,
Yeah, I mean, well, that's only because like again, I don't even know how I would price it in the first place, but
mm,
like the main thing that would get me to really consider it is if it were in a price range that would allow me to afford certain things that I really need.
mm,
Because, I'm trans
mm,
and being trans is very expensive. So
well, yeah,
having suddenly, tens of thousands of pounds in my lap would allow me to afford things like surgeries and whatnot and various other things. There's lots and lots of other expenses relating to it.
yeah. I don't think
Which
anybody,
at the moment,
yeah, I don't think anybody
sorry, go ahead.
realizes how it's not just go in there and get done and leave. That's
Oh,
not
well,
that's
no,
not
well, of course
yeah,
not. Right.
that's not how it
Like at the
works.
moment, no, at the moment I'm on hormones and
Mm,
uh, got to pay for those because trans healthcare in the UK is not particularly good.
mm,
And like if I wanted surgeries, like that would be like in the UK a ridiculous amount. Outside of the UK, slightly less ridiculous amount, but still quite a high amount, right? But then there's like multiple surgeries that
Right.
are like,
Yeah.
things that you'd be looking for as a trans person. It
Yeah.
depends on the person, but
Yeah. But
like,
let's just say
yeah.
let's just say it's not like taking out a gallbladder, okay?
Oh no.
No. Even if you have complications, it ain't like that at all. It takes,
Mm,
as far as I'm concerned, it takes some courage to even think about that sort of thing. But
mm.
the that also takes some courage to show off your art, I think. Once you got started doing this, was it easy for you to show other
Mm.
people what you've done?
Yeah, I've been showing other people what I've been doing since the start.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I've been streaming it, right? So people just inherently see what I do.
Yeah.
I've been posting the things that I've been making since the very start. You can
Yeah.
see them on some sites still.
Right.
Um, like I've never really been adverse to people seeing the things I make. I've always been of the mindset that like, I there will never be a I am perfectly satisfied with my art. There will never be a point where I'm like I can't improve from here, right? Like you as an artist, you're always improving,
Of course, you're
and
always fiddling with stuff, you artists.
mm, yeah, like so there's no point like getting hung up over like obviously like I tried to make my art look as best as it can, but there's no point in hung up over the idea of like, oh, will people like it?
Mm.
Like, sure, probably. It might not be very many people, but like, there's no downside
Well,
to putting it out there, right?
yeah. Well, that's a heck of an attitude because folks like me who are scared to death of anything like that would be like, yeah, they could hate it, and then I would be curled up in a ball for the rest of my life.
And then you block them, and then you move on. And
Mm.
I gotta say, from my experience with my drawing, obviously I didn't start with my art looking the way it does currently. Very, very few people um, hate comments on
Oh.
art, mostly because very few people see it early on. Is the simple truth.
Mm.
Very few people will see your art because the fact of the matter is like I'm my art doesn't really tend to sort of go viral,
Hmm.
right? Like not I don't get like really sort of like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people seeing my art generally.
Hmm.
Um, so when there's only a couple of people saying it, like, yeah, like usually no one really cares, to be honest, in both good and bad. But the few people who do like it, from my experience, like, I have a couple of people coming in being like, hey, can I like commission you? Like stuff like that.
Hmm.
People being like, this looks cool, stuff like that. Like
Well,
it kind of just the amount of people looking to cause trouble is generally quite low.
that's good. That's always good. With Do you get backseat artists when you're online?
Backseat arting, like people trying to say you should do this, you
Yeah.
should do this. A little bit, not really. Like sometimes when I'm streaming, I'll often like be like, should I do this, should I do this, blah blah blah. Like and just openly asking people for their advice and like feedback and whatever.
Hmm.
Especially if it's a commission and like the person commissioning me is in the chat.
Hmm.
But like sometimes someone will come along and be like, hey, like you're doing this wrong or whatever, and I'll just be like, no, don't do that, please. And usually they'll just say, oh, sorry, and then it's just fine.
Yeah.
Like just kind of just being like clear about your boundaries. 90% of the time, people will just apologize because a lot of the time people just don't mean to be rude. Um,
I got to ask you this question. Where do you
hmm,
get your confidence from?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just kind of, I don't know if I don't feel necessarily confident.
Hmm.
I just kind of, as I said earlier, like I don't feel like there's a reason not to you know,
Well,
do what I'm doing. And like, I again, like I felt like I had something with my art and my streams and stuff like that. And I wanted to give it my all. And seeing people respond to that, by following and watching the streams and slowly growing the community, like, that gives me confidence in that I am doing something right. Um,
I wish a lot more folks
like,
had that attitude like me.
yeah,
That
I mean, growth is very not linear, right? So it can be very hard when things don't feel like they're going the way that you want them to.
yeah,
But you gotta remember like the overall picture a
mm,
lot of the time.
yeah,
Like I often feel like, especially recently, my I often feel like, oh, like I'm not like I haven't experienced like as much growth lately.
mm,
Um, and then I realized like, okay, no, take a step back and compare how you are now to how you were literally like 6 months ago. Like the difference is crazy.
right.
Like it's short-term differences really don't mean anything ultimately,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
it's so easy to get hung up on those short-term differences.
yeah. You can throw yourself in a hole pretty quick, and
Mm.
and then start digging.
Oh yeah.
The way to get out is to keep digging until you hit the other side of the world. No, that's
Hmm.
not the way to do it. But you certainly have an amazing attitude for this,
Oh, thank you.
and obviously an amazing talent. And I'm glad you're able to share it with
Thank
us.
you.
Now, when you get online and you're doing your games, what games do you like to
Mm.
stream?
Elden Ring.
Hmm?
I like Elden Ring a lot. Elden Ring is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, I I do like I've been doing lots of Balatro recently, which is another game that I'm addicted to a little bit, perhaps. Uh, what else?
See, you did a
I mean, I
little
don't. I
Lethal
do
Company.
mostly
Not,
stream art, right?
yeah,
Like, sorry,
yeah.
what were you saying?
I saw you did a little Lethal Company a little while ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do bits of Lethal Company as well.
Well,
Like that's something where you want like a group of friends, right? So like I'll do Lethal Company with like some groups sometimes. I joined a friend on like their stream for some Lethal Company relatively recently.
yeah.
Um, like that's that Lethal Company is not a game that I'd want to play like 24/7, but it's fun to it's fun to do it a little bit. It's fun to hang out with friends, do a bit of Lethal Company. It's cool. It's a good
Yeah,
time.
get very silly very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to have a game that you can blow off some steam in, and
Mm,
that certainly seems to be one of, and to be entertained at the same time. Um,
mm.
by especially the add-ons they have to it, I guess make it even
Oh yeah,
even
I
better.
don't think I've ever played the game without mods.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now, what you got big planned coming up on your channel?
Oh wow,
I see
wow.
it. I see on your YouTube. I'm looking at it right now. It says something more to come, and the word soon.
Yeah, that's I'm working on something. I'm working on something. It's a bit of a secret, so I
Oh.
can't really reveal much. But there's little teasers that I posted a couple of times.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say what it is. It's something that I wanted to have released last month.
Mm.
Um, and also the month before, but I missed both of those deadlines. And at this point, to avoid missing any more deadlines, I'm still working on it very, very hard. But I've kind of realized, okay, I'm not gonna put out any more deadlines. I'm just gonna work on it, and when it's done, it's done. I'm gonna polish it so much that it's gonna be amazing and perfect, and it's gonna be really cool. Again, I can't say what it is because it is very secret under
Hmm.
wraps. But it's pretty big. It's pretty cool. Um, and I mean, other than that, there is a raid train, like
Mm.
a Twitch raid train that I'm hosting, which is going to be starting in a little over a week now.
Okay.
So that's going to be fun. That's going to be
Excellent.
cool.
Excellent.
Um, there's what else have we got going on? I want to do a sorry, my brain is turning off. I want to do a subathon, like a an Elden Ring-a-thon specifically, because I
Okay.
haven't beaten the DLC yet. I played the very start. I haven't
Yeah.
beaten any major bosses. And I would really like to do sort of a subathon type event where I try and beat the game,
Ah.
which would be cool, would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um,
So you got a lot of plans.
those were all the big events that come to mind. I guess as well, other than that,
Yeah.
is that I'm not super close to it, but like, you know, I'm a push away, I suppose, from getting a Twitch partner. So I
Ooh,
would like to do a partner push at some point.
absolutely. This is this is this is a success story.
Thank you.
I mean, really, it is. It's completely a success story. Um, Maybe it's a little bit of right time, right media, right place, but you also have grabbed it by the reins and taken off with
Oh
it.
yeah,
It's
this isn't something that just fell into my lap by any means.
no,
Like if you want to be successful with whatever you're doing, you need to be like, you know, there's a fine line,
mhm,
right? There's a fine line between just doing the things you like and doing things that will get people to look at them,
right,
right? Doing things that will generate attention, whether it's YouTube videos or streams or whatever it is,
right,
right? Like the things there's usually a bit of overlap, but you know, if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to put in a lot of work to, you know, make what you're doing look good or be engaging, right, to people, might be something that people want to see and want to click on and want to engage with.
right,
And it's very hard to know what those things are. You know, you've got to do lots of research. You've got to put in the time to set so many things up, at least as a streamer, right? Like, and an artist as well, right? Like,
mm,
there's a crazy amount of things, like all of the things that I have to stream. Like, that's definitely going above and beyond for what's required for a stream. But like, obviously, that's sort of part of the draw for my channel is the you know the aesthetics and the redeems and the funny things and
mm,
cool things, the impressive things, right? So kind of finding that mix between something that you really want to do and something that, based on your research, is something that people will engage with, and you know, you can see yourself finding success with, basically.
absolutely fascinating story. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us,
Yeah,
Oceanex.
of course.
It's. I hope people hear that and um, take some get some wind beneath their wings, because I know some folks get out there and get frustrated with what they're trying to do and hit a
It's very
wall,
hard.
hit a roadblock or something. Everybody
Oh
does,
yeah.
but it doesn't seem like you're a Sherman tank when it comes to this stuff. Just plow right
I
on
mean,
through and
you
keep
know,
going.
there's that piece of advice that gets passed around, and like it's been said a lot of times, but it's not a race. It's an endurance contest,
Mm,
right? As soon as you give up, you lose.
yeah,
And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with deciding this isn't for me, I want to do something else. Absolutely not. But as soon as you give in, as soon as you make yourself believe, rather than, you know, I'm stopping this because it's not for me, it's not something that I want to do, whatever. If you instead stop because, oh, I'll never make it, I'll never, you know, be successful, you know, no one likes my things, blah, blah, blah.
right.
That's when, you know, you, yeah, like you, I've lost the words for what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah.
keeping
Once,
on going, you'll never get the opportunities
yeah,
to find success if
right.
you're not actively looking for them.
If you don't push, you're not going to go forward. That's all there is
Oh
to
yeah,
it. And my gosh, a tremendous, a tremendous story. I'm glad that you're seeing the fruits of your efforts, because
hey,
obviously there's a lot of effort behind it. Um,
I appreciate that.
I'm not going to count you out for anything at this point. Um,
I will keep doing my best.
yeah, well, make sure you come back and let us know when some of these big events come up, so we can promote them a little bit for you.
Absolutely,
And again, thank you so much for coming on.
of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.